He left in the morning, and he said goodbye, and he went off with his friend, Yosef Ishran, and they never came home.
He took a day off from school with a friend of his and came out here into the canyon to explore Israel, to explore his backyard. And he was trapped in this cave back there by 4 or 5 Palestinian terrorists.
They were beaten to death with rocks.
This is the cave where Kobe and Yosef were murdered. It's a place of great horror and great holiness at the same time.
I felt like I had no control and no understanding of the world. I felt that there had to be a God who had a much greater understanding than I could ever have, because I felt so limited. We were surrounded by people who took care of us physically and emotionally and spiritually, and were just there for us. And so all the love that people showed us gave us the power to feel that we could take this horror and cruelty and transform it into some kind of good in the world.
We were determined to create something out of the tragedy of Kobe's death.
We understood this horror of avelut, of grief, the sharpness of the grief and the intensity and the way it was like a wild animal. And we understood the way it hurt us and the way it hurt our children. And we saw that other families and children who had family members murdered by terrorists needed help, and that we could find a way to give them that help. So we got the idea to do a small camp for children who had relatives killed by terrorists in Israel. Now we have 600 kids in the camp.
It meets for about 15 or 20 days per year at 3 or 4 different times. These kids come back each time to their counselors and to their friends, so that they always have something to look forward to.
A lot of mothers, they don't give themselves time to grieve. They go right back to regular life. And even during the Shiva, they're already feeding other people and taking care of other people. And I got the idea that I should bring other women who'd suffered loss by having terrorists murder their children, bring them for 2-day healing programs. If you can find a way to put good into the world, then in a way you're bringing the dead person into the world, because all that good is created on the back of that person. Our camp is the happiest place in the world, because when you've hit the low of lows, also your high gets raised up. Like you can reach an even greater joy, because you know how great happiness is.